I'm Tom Clark. Welcome back to Power Play from the foyer of the House of Commons. Well, the other story we've been talking about at the show is the apparent reversal by the government on its stand about its G8 initiative on maternal and child health care in the developing world. Initially, it was said that contraceptives and contraceptive teaching would not be part of the initiative. Now the government is saying, no, we got it wrong. It is going to be, but abortion won't be. Let's continue this discussion now. Joining us, Keith Martin of the Liberals, Nikki Ashton of the NDP, and Mike Lake of the Conservatives. Welcome to you all. First of all, just let me play for everybody the clip of Bev Oda, who's in charge of CETA, dealing with this initiative in question period today, just to set the table. So here's Bev Oda. Take a listen.
We are not closing the door on any options that will save the lives of mothers and children, including contraception. And as we have been saying all along, we are not opening the abortion debate. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Bev Oda, and earlier on the show we had Lawrence Cannon, the foreign minister, here saying much the same thing, that he said that what he said in committee 3 days ago is non-operational today. So let me start, Keith, let me start with you. Is this now corrected the situation in your eyes?
No, it's absolutely bizarre because you've got government ministers talking out of both sides of their mouths. Allowing possibly family planning to be on the table is entirely different from embracing family planning, because family planning, providing people, women and men, the full array of family planning options will save women's lives, men's lives, reduce maternal mortality, infant mortality, and will enable us to address the HIV/AIDS crisis and the transmission of other sexually transmitted diseases.
But, Nikki, here's the thing. Lawrence Cannon was saying, and I think Bev Oda was also saying, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that while the door is open to contraception as part of the Canadian initiative, that Canada would not fund any initiative that included abortion. Now, as a G8 initiative, I think everybody's got to agree on what the terms are, and President Obama's made it pretty clear, because I think his first act was to get rid of the George Bush policy of abortion not being part of foreign aid. So I don't know, where do you see us on this?
Well, we're certainly wondering where the government's at. I mean, this is quite the reversal on the family planning issue. I mean, first of all, family planning for most people includes an array of contraceptive use, but also the discussion around abortion. Absolutely, the rights of women to choose. But we're wondering what this reversal means, what the minister's statement today means exactly. I mean, this is great to open the family planning option, but we'd like it to mean some real action. And as for the abortion discussion, I mean, as pointed out, this is a discussion for the G8 to have. Any people that are working in terms of maternal health, child health, recognize that this is an integral part of the debate, and generally the ability for women and men to choose and have some fundamental power over their own lives.
Mike, one would assume that sovereignty would mean that any nation has the right to follow whatever path it wants when it comes to foreign aid. If, in fact, as Mr. Cannon seemed to be saying, that we will not fund anything to do with abortion in terms of a health initiative for the developing world, is that something that you can see us sort of withdrawing from the G8 initiative on that one point?
Of course, Minister Oda will be meeting with her counterparts next week in Halifax to talk about this further. But what I would say is what we put on the table right now is a proposal to actually have an impact in a very, very critical situation. We're talking 500,000 mothers who will lose their lives this year for want of very, very basic medical things that we take for granted here. We're talking about 9 million children under the age of 5 who will also lose their lives. And we're talking about a measure that we've put forward that can rally virtually unanimously all Canadians together and people around the world together, that they can get their head around. And what we've seen at this point is the opposition parties trying to throw one of the most divisive issues that have been in Canadian politics for years into the equation to try and mix it up. What I'm saying is, why can't we actually try to make a difference, work together on something that virtually all Canadians and everybody around the world agrees on?
Fine, but some people might argue with you to say, look, you can't unconnect contraceptive planning and abortion in the third world because they go hand in hand. But let me ask you this, as an MP, are you more comfortable saying that this government will not fund any foreign policy initiative that includes abortion?
What I'm more comfortable saying is that we need to make a difference on this issue. This is a critical issue that governments around the world what we're saying is that this is a critical issue that's been brought up time and time and time again at meetings of world leaders, and nothing's been done. And 500,000 mothers are dying every year. 9 million children are dying every year, and this is way too long. Something has to be done.
Let me throw it back to you then, Keith. Does a government, though, not have the right to put its, if it's an ideological mark, to put their own ideological mark on foreign aid and say this is where we stand, and if you don't like it, vote against us?
It can do that, but as a physician, I worked in Africa, Tom, and I've delivered a lot of babies there. And I can tell you, having seen women who have been raped, who want to have an option to be able to have a therapeutic abortion, because without it their lives will be destroyed. Women who want to have access to contraceptives, and without that their lives would be changed dramatically. Seeing young girls who are pregnant, who should never be pregnant, and then they in turn have had fistula, which completely damages and destroys their lives. Remember, for every woman that dies, and every minute of every day a woman dies, 20 times that number of women sustain life-altering injuries because they can't access the contraceptive options they have and the full array of family planning options they need, and all the other things that we would agree to that Mike has mentioned that women and men need. But so it's costing people's lives, it's destroying communities, it's destroying the economic underpinnings of countries, and it prevents countries from getting out of the poverty cycle, not to mention the sheer humanity of these women losing their lives.
But now that the government has said that they will fund an initiative that includes contraceptives and contraceptive education and everything that goes along with that, not abortion, but all the other range of it, doesn't that take us a little bit further?
Well, we'd like to see that plan, this commitment to contraceptives. I mean, 3 days ago they were clearly not on that page in a very clear way. They stated that. So, we're interested to know. I mean, there was a real fear. I mean, we're talking about condoms here. We're talking about birth control. I mean, these are things that we don't talk about in Canada anymore. So that aversion, I mean, it creates, you wonder what might be next. And, and I think it's healthy to have this debate. I mean, in Canada we have a very different debate. Why can't we have that debate about Canada's role in the world?
Why was there all this confusion over this? I mean, why on Monday the government was saying one thing, today it's saying 180 degrees different? What went on?
I don't believe we are saying 180 degrees different. I think what we've said...
I can read you what Lawrence Cannon said in front of the Foreign Affairs Committee on Monday, when he said in no way, shape, or form has this initiative got anything to do with family planning. And today he said on this show, he said, well, I shouldn't have said that. I
think what we're saying is, we've said all along, is that we want to maintain our focus on this, on mothers, the 500,000 mothers who are losing their lives every year, the 9 million kids. That's what this is all about. It's about remedying a situation that is completely unacceptable. We wouldn't stand for this in Canada. In fact, it's 200 years since we've been in a situation like this in Canada, and yet we've allowed it to happen. World leaders across the globe have allowed this to happen year in and year out. While they talked a lot, nothing was done. We've said we have the opportunity to actually make a difference this time around, and we have to do it.
It does seem, though, that we have opened the door to an abortion debate in this country once again, because we're making a linkage between foreign policy and abortion in a way that I understand from the Americans. When I lived down there, it was just a part of the landscape. I never knew it to be part of the landscape up here. But I think we're into that.
I would say, actually, the opposition parties have certainly ran through the door on that issue, trying to take an issue that should be able to unanimously bring Canadians together in support and try to turn it into a political wedge issue. I would say that on our part, we're focused on trying again to help the mothers and the children who need our help. And just simply, again, we're talking pennies a day in most of these cases for clean drinking water, clean water, for nutrition, for medical training.
Keith Martin, Nikki Ashton, and Mike Lake, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate the discussion. We're going to take a short break now, and we're going to be back with our Thursday strategy panel on Power Play right after this. Stay tuned.